Shot in this area. We are near Whitehaven, that neighborhood. We're going to zoom in a little bit to tell you what we're seeing. As you can see, multiple police crime scenes up here, and this is just one of a few scenes that I've been at. I've been to 3 here on this road. We're here at Horn Lake Road currently in Shelby Drive. Massive police presence. We have learned that police officer that was shot earlier today has been rushed to Regional 1 Hospital earlier, and thankfully, we can report he or she is in stable condition. Now, like I said, this is just one of several scenes. There's another further south of this road here that I'm on now. There was a car, a white SUV, it looked like possibly being towed at one other scene, and they were still working to get crime tape up at another one further south from where I am now, and of that second one I just described. Right now, residents, they are visibly concerned. One woman who is concerned about her child. Her daughter, it seems, she says, goes to school in this area. So a lot of people trying to figure out what's going on. As we gather more details, we'll let you know. Questions we have specifically on the circumstances that led up to this officer being shot and injured. Thankfully, like we said, in stable condition. But of course, when we learn more, we'll update you. For now, live in the Whitehaven area, I'm Rebecca Butcher.
All right, Rebecca, thank you so much. We'll check back in with you again shortly. Now, we are being told that the officer was taken to Regional 1 Hospital, and for a look at his conditions, we are doing team coverage tonight. And ABC 24's Zaria Oates is in the medical district right now. Zaria, what have you been able to learn there?
Good afternoon, Danielle. Yeah, I'm right here at Regional 1 Trauma Center, where I rode down a few miles of the highway with the officers in transport. Now, there were multiple officers on the scene, and what seemed to be the officer in the back of one of these ambulances coming in here to the trauma center. I'm going to step out of the way. Now, the officer seemed to be in good condition. He seemed to be alert and awake. We do not know for sure his current status. However, we are keeping up to date with that. As we know right now, there have been multiple police officers coming and going and blocking off streets here near the Regional 1 Hospital. Now, we'll keep you up to date as we have more information. Back to you, Danielle.
All right, Zaria, thank you again. Let me go back through what we know so far. The call came in around noon, and it tells us that the MPD task force officer has been shot this afternoon in southwest Memphis. There are multiple scenes all around the city. We do have team coverage. We're bringing you this information as we get it. It is still an evolving situation right now. If you take a look at your screen, that is the map where this incident all unfolded. Once again, an MPD task force officer has been shot this afternoon in southwest Memphis. We are still going through the nuts and the bolts, trying to get all this information to you all and trying to make sure that everything is okay and everyone is safe at this time. As we get these updates, we're going to send alerts to your phone through the ABC 24 app. So you can go ahead and download it now. If you don't have it, it's free in the Apple and Google Play Store. But right now, let's take another look at that scene with Rebecca Butcher.
Yeah, since we last spoke to you just now, we have seen a few ATF officers here on the scene. Like I said, people out here are trying to figure out exactly what's going on. But of course, we know that an MPD officer has been shot, and residents have shown some concern. One lady in particular trying to get to her daughter, who is at a school, we believe currently, that's in this area. Now, like we said, we know an MPD officer has been shot at this time. Thankfully, we know that he or she is in stable condition at Regional 1 Hospital. We do have a crew there on that scene gathering details there as we speak. Like I said, it's of course causing a traffic delay as MPD officers, although they have established the scene, still getting all pieces of evidence that they can from this. Once again, questions we have. What led up to this officer shooting? Was it a police traffic stop? Was a warrant being served? These are all questions that we have for Memphis Police Department. I did reach out to a spokesperson. That's Lewis Brownlee. He says that their dayside crew is gathering details on this. We are also hoping for a press conference on the latest information on this as well. Of course, always a sad situation when an officer is being shot. Right now, we're still trying to determine if shots were fired first, by whom or what party. But for now, reporting live in the Whitehaven area, I'm Rebecca Butcher.
All right, thank you so much, Rebecca. You can see that scene there still very active right now. Multiple blocks have been blocked off. You can see the police tape and multiple police officers on the scene. As Rebecca said, officials haven't said much yet, but ABC 24 has someone waiting there for new information. Brad Broders, we might be going to Brad to see what he has for us there. We're having Brad wants to check back in with Zaria O2 is there at Regional 1 Hospital, where the officers are still coming in to watch everything unfold right now. Zaria, what can you tell us that you're learning right now at Regional 1?
Danielle, right now, officers continue coming in up and down the streets, blocking things off, making sure that bystanders are staying away and as far away from the scene as possible. Now, we do know that the Chief Davis will be coming out to speak later. Now, Chief won't be taking any questions, and they did make us agree not to ask any questions. We'll keep you updated. Thanks, Danielle.
All righty, Zaria. So there you have it. Memphis Police Chief going to be speaking to the media shortly. I'm going to just update you just in case you're just now joining us. A MPD task force officer was shot this afternoon. The call came in around 12 o'clock, so just a little bit over an hour and 30 minutes ago. So this is all very fresh information. The information is ever evolving right now. This happened in southwest Memphis. It looks like near the Horn Lake Road and Horn Lake Cove area. Zaria is at Regional 1 right now where the officer was taken. The officer is in stable condition. That's what we know so far. Rebecca Butcher is on the scene. We are coming to you with team coverage at this time. We do not have information on suspects. We don't have information on what led up to this incident either. We are working to unfold all of these pieces. So this is definitely a large situation. Let's check back in with Rebecca Butcher, who is on that active scene right now. Rebecca.
But Danielle, like we've been saying, this is just one of a few scenes here in the southwest Memphis and Whitehaven area. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Like you can see the multiple lines of tape here. Traffic, of course, is a little bit of concern in this area. People trying to figure out what's going on and get to any children who they might have in schools in the area as well before school lets out. What we know, one, an MPD officer has been shot, by whom we are not yet certain. That has not been yet released by MPD. Questions we have: what led up to this shooting? Was the warrant being served? Domestic situation? What was the call that MPD got? These are all questions I have asked MPD spokesperson. Still waiting for an update at this hour. We do know, thankfully, that MPD officer, he or she, was taken to Regional 1, rushed to the hospital, thankfully in stable condition, we can report. Now, like I said, this is just one of several scenes that I witnessed in the area. The first one was further south of us in an area. They hadn't yet gotten crime tape up. They were trying to get people kind of to back away, drive along the sidewalk, so none of the scene was compromised. Any bullet shell casings or anything that might have been in that area. Second scene further down south of me now was also at Horn Lake Cove and Horn Lake Road. That one, it looked like a vehicle, a white SUV, was being towed. I did see a person, not sure whether or not they were connected with anyone with this scene or whether they just lived in the area. They were visibly speaking to police behind the tape in that scene. And then again, we bring it to this scene here. This is where we're seeing the most tape and the most massive, biggest police presence here still at this hour. Like I said, we know that MPD officer is in stable condition, but what led up to that shooting earlier today, we're still working to find out. Live in the Whitehaven area, I'm Rebecca Butcher.
All righty, thank you, Rebecca. Remain on standby. We are still getting more details in our studio right now. In fact, we have seen that Jeter K-8 is currently on a precautionary lockdown while the law enforcement investigates this incident. This is in the southwest Memphis area where a MPD task force officer was shot. It is in stable condition right now at Regional 1, but he was shot. He or she was shot. As we get updates, we're going to send you alerts to your phone from the ABC 24 app. This incident happened at noon. It's 1:34 right now. So we are still learning more information. This is also very new information coming into our station and into our studios. We do have team coverage going on right now. Here's what we know. This incident happened at noon today in the southwest Memphis area near Horn Lake Road and Horn Lake Cove. This officer is in stable condition. Right now, you are seeing video from earlier this afternoon where the ambulance was taking that officer to Regional 1 Hospital. Now, we are on top of this right now. Multiple crews are on the scene. As we get information, we don't have information on the suspects yet. We heard that we might be getting some more information on that part of this story, or what led up to this shooting. Zaria Oates, who is at Regional 1, told us that Chief Davis will be giving us a press conference at some point, not allowing media to ask questions, but I'm sure she's just going to be giving us the information that she has so far. Once again, an MPD task force officer was shot this afternoon around noon in the southwest Memphis area. As we get these updates, we're going to send you alerts to your phone through our ABC 24 app. So you can go ahead and download it now. If you don't have it, it's free in the Apple and Google Play Store. But right now, let's take another live look. We're going to go back in with Zaria Oates, who is at Regional 1. She's been following the situation very closely, trying to get us information on that officer's condition. Multiple police officers on the scene there as well. As Rebecca was saying, there's multiple police officers and multiple scenes all around southwest Memphis right now. So this situation seems to be kind of spread out. So our details are also spread out. As we wait for Zaria Oates there, I just want to go back through the nuts and bolts. This incident just happened at noon today, and we do know that one officer was shot. Let's go ahead and check back in with Zaria Oates.
Yeah, Danielle, what we know right now is that alongside Memphis Police Department, many other departments are coming out here, getting informed as the information makes its way across town. Right now, we know we have Tennessee Highway Patrol back behind me, as well as the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. Now, it's been kind of a chaotic scene as police officers attempt to block off some of the roads here up and down the street near the hospital alongside the highways. Now, as they continue to patrol the area and make sure that people are staying clear of the scene, we are waiting on Chief Davis to come make a statement. Right now, it seems that Chief Davis is getting out of her car to come make this statement. Now, again, as we said before, Chief Davis will not be taking any questions, so we will try to keep you updated as much as possible. But right now, we do know that we saw someone come out of the ambulance in a stable condition, seemingly alert. Back to you, Danielle.
Everything we know right now. Again, this is just a map of what we know where the incident took place. We're told that one officer was taken to Regional 1 Hospital. We're going to continue team coverage throughout the day on this incident. We have Zaria Oates again in the medical district. Zaria is learning and waiting on a press conference there as we speak, and we will be continuing to talk with her in just a little bit. I was able to reach out to the mayor's office, Mayor Jim Strickland and his office. They are preparing a statement at this time. They said that they are aware of the situation, but they're looking for more information about exactly what happened before they release that statement. Again, we do have team coverage. We're checking in with all of our crews right now. Do we have a live look that we can show? This is video actually right now of crews that were showing up on the scene at Regional 1 Hospital. And again, officials haven't said much about what has happened yet or what actually led up to this shooting, but ABC 24 has someone waiting and standing by for more information. Gita K through 8 right now is on lockdown. That is new information that we have. And we're learning more details about what's going to happen then and some more information that parents need to know when they're going to pick up their children as well. Again, team coverage, Brad Broders is standing by and getting ready for anything and information that we have. We're going to come back to him in just a second. But this, again, is a live look at Horn Lake Cove and Horn Lake Cove Road. That is where the incident took place, where a police officer we know has been shot. Now, we're going to stay on top of the latest details of this shooting. We have updates online at abc24.com and on our ABC 24 app. Again, another live picture right there at that scene. Let's take a live look outside of that hospital where we know a police officer is recovering there in that hospital. Again, we're getting more information as more details come in. An officer is still right now at Regional 1 in stable condition. No information right now on suspects or what led to this shooting. We're learning for those details at this point. Right now, ABC 24 News was told that MPD was taking an officer to that hospital. Rebecca Butcher is there live. Rebecca, can we speak to you? Are you available for a quick live shot? Okay, we don't, Rebecca, but we do have this camera footage. And what we're looking at right now, of course, we're seeing police cars and we're seeing other cars definitely passing through, trying to get through that area. As you can imagine, as police are working this investigation, it's a very, very, very tight space for police to work and grab all the details that they need to pursue and move forward. This is definitely a very live and active scene. You can still see caution tape, crime scene tape all over the place. Police cars, men and women outside of them, officers, learning more details about what happened. They're speaking to each other. I count at least 2 or 3 police cars that are there as well. And just definitely a very big scene. Let's go now back to that hospital where we do know that that officer is recovering at Regional 1. Zaria Oates is there covering everything we know so far right now. Zaria, what can you tell us?
The truck sitting in the middle of the street, next thing I know, my baby came running after school crying.
Now is that a Memphis Police Department task force officer has been taken to Regional 1 here right behind me. He was taken up the highway. He or she was taken up the highway, blocking off many exits, on ramps, off ramps, making sure pedestrians and other drivers stay out of the way as they continue to transport them up this way. Now, many streets were blocked off completely by officers inside their cars and outside their cars, directing traffic, making sure that there was a clear path all the way into Regional 1. Now, if I step out of the way here, you can see that there's many police officers here. There's Memphis Fire Department, the Tennessee Highway Patrol is out here, as well as Shelby County Sheriff's Office. Now, right now, as we do know, is that we're waiting for Chief Davis to come out and give a statement. Chief Davis's communication department did say that they will not be taking any questions from media and did have us agree to not ask any questions. Now, we will keep you updated as we have more information, and we'll continue to give you all of that information. Back to you.
Zaria, thank you so much. And we are waiting for a lot of leaders to give their perspective and their information about what's happened. We have spoken to the mayor's office, Jim Strickland, as well, who is aware of this situation, and he is waiting to release a statement to see exactly how this investigation will unfold. But he was able to give us that as well. Also, Jeter K-8 is on lockdown right now. I believe we have a live picture of there as well. Let's take that if we can. But again, we're working to learn more information about that, and especially as parents are preparing to pick up their children later on this evening, what that will look like for you as well. Again, more details are coming in as we speak. What we know right now, though, is that an officer was shot and is at Regional 1 Hospital in stable condition. But right now, no information on a suspect or what actually led up to this shooting. We're working to gather those details. We are standing by. Zaria Oates is for that press conference with the police chief to see what new details she can give us. Also, we are continuing to get those updates. You can stay with us right here, but we're also going to send alerts to your phone through our ABC 24 News app. You can download that if you haven't already. It is free in Google Play and in the App Store. But right now, let's take another live look at the scene. As more details are coming in, we're learning exactly what happened over the past few minutes. Again, this is a live look at Regional 1 Hospital. You can definitely see police cars are still in the area, and that's normal, a precaution that you see police cars in front of a hospital when an officer gets shot for several reasons. Part of that is for safety, and another part of that is to show support. That is their brother or sister in blue. Many of them, I'm sure, worried and concerned about what has happened, and they're there for a couple of reasons. Again, safety for the most important part, but also to show support as well. Again, at that scene at Regional 1 Hospital, we're waiting on a press conference with the police chief to give us more information about what happened today, and Zaria Oates will keep us covered on that in the medical district. Again, I want to walk you through everything that we know so far right now about what's happened. You're taking a look at the scene, many police cars, another live look at that scene. We've been told that an officer was shot. That officer is in Regional 1 in stable condition, and we're still working to learn what happened. Police and other authorities have not given us much information about all of this just yet, but we're working and we're learning. We're still asking questions. And of course, police are still doing their investigation. You can see a lot of them still on this street, and they're working to see exactly what happened and how this can progress moving forward. And of course, how that officer is doing. Again, our last update said that officer is in stable condition at Regional 1, but a lot of things are happening as of right now. I believe Rebecca Butcher is live on the scene. Rebecca, are you able to give us a live look or any information about what you've seen or heard that's new? about what you've seen or heard that's new?
Yeah. Yvonne, I can tell you that it's an emotional scene. Parents are frantic at this point, trying to figure out exactly what is going on with their kids. Several have come to this scene, including a student, I believe, as well. They are, of course, concerned about the lockdown that we reported going on at Jeter School that's near in this area. One person saying she got a text message from her niece, scared because there was a lockdown going on at school. They were concerned, obviously, if there was a danger to their students there, to their classroom, if any shooter was in the area that might harm the children. Let me show you what's going on at this scene and what we do know affirmatively at this point. We know an MPD officer has been shot and killed in this area. Right now we are at Shelby Drive in Horn Lake Road. It's a massive police presence, but just one of 3 in the area. The other 2 are further south of me. I've been to all 3. What we know is that officer, he or she, was taken to Regional 1, thankfully is in stable condition. We've also learned that there is going to be a press briefing at the hospital from Chief Davis herself on what led up to this shooting. Hopefully we're trying to learn and what were the circumstances, if there is anyone detained or charged at this point with shooting that officer, him or her. Like I said, this is just one of 3 scenes in the area. I've been to all 3. I've been talking to guardians. They're frantic. Parents, they're frantic, trying to figure out what's going on, making sure their little ones are okay. But back to you.
Thank you so much, and definitely a frantic scene as people are working to figure out exactly what has happened. Again, like Rebecca said, there are several different scenes that officers are, and we're working to learn how all of those scenes are connected as well. One of those scenes is Horn Lake Road and Horn Lake Cove. Also, we do know that officer at Regional 1 Hospital, and we're, of course, looking for more information about a suspect. Who caused this? Who is the shooter? Police have not released that information yet, but that's one of the details that we're looking for right now. All right, we're going to send things out to Regional 1 Hospital, where Zaria Oates is out there live waiting on a press conference from the chief. Zaria, what can you tell us?
Thanks, Yvonne. Yeah, we thought we saw the chief come out of her car, but it seems that she's still inside waiting to come out and give this press conference. What we know right now is that Memphis Police Department officer was transported here to Regional 1 Trauma Center. Now, as they were coming into this area, there were streets blocked off, many cop cars coming down, blocking off roads, regular roads, on-ramps and off-ramps, making sure that people and bystanders stayed out of the way. Now, cops continue to come down this road with their lights on and off, stopping traffic, making sure that people stay out of the way. Now, as we continue to wait on Chief Davis, we were told that questions were not allowed at this press conference, but we will keep you updated and we will try to get as much information out of Chief Davis as possible. That's all for now. Thank you, Yvonne.
Zaria, thank you so much for keeping us up to date live outside in the medical district. All right, we're going to break down everything that we know so far right now about this incident. Again, a lot going on right now. There are 3 different scenes. We have crews at every single one of them. But what we know is that this all unfolded around noon this afternoon. One of those scenes is at Horn Lake Road and Horn Lake Cove. We have been told that an officer is at Regional 1 Hospital. Police are looking for more details and have not yet told us much information about what led up to that shooting. We also don't know if there is a gunman on the loose, if there is a gunman in custody. We're working to learn those information and those details right now. These are the 3 things that you need to know. A task force officer of the Memphis Police Department has been shot. He was taken to the hospital, Regional 1, and Jeter K-8 is on lockdown at this point. We're going to give you more information about that as parents work to pick up their children in the minutes and hours to come. This is a live look at Horn Lake Cove Road and Horn Lake Cove Lake. Okay. All right, we're still gathering information. A lot is going on right now. Again, we have many crews out there learning to know what's going on. We're going to stand by. Brad Broders is live with more coverage with us right now. Let's go to him.
Yeah, good evening. I'm at the Horn Lake near Shelby Drive. I'm going to step out of the shot. Elvis, you don't mind going in on that. Right there is Jeter K-8, that school that you had just mentioned right now. They are in lockdown, as you just mentioned. You can see a lot of police cars surrounding this crime scene, which just so happens to be right near the K-8 Jeter School. We are here on Horn Lake approaching Shelby Drive. You can see dozens of police officers. This is still a very active scene, a lot of flashing lights following that officer being shot earlier this afternoon. Again, this is not only just a crime scene, we are right in a school zone at Jeter K-8, which not only is in session right now, but in lockdown. And as you can see, not just only in lockdown, you can see plenty of police vehicles, law enforcement personnel surrounding this K-8 school. We have been on the scene about 5 to 10 minutes. You can see some officers on the property of this school patrolling the situation right now, but we have not seen any parents arrive near this scene. A lot of the traffic is blocked off on Horn Lake Road, but we're going to continue to monitor this, as you can see. But as you can see, Horn Lake near Shelby Drive, this stretch of Horn Lake is closed off of 61. We'll continue to keep you posted.
Brad, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. This is now a live look where our Rebecca Butcher is right now. You can still see a lot of police still in that area, lots of caution tape. Many of them are standing around speaking to each other and just trying to, I'm sure, take it all in and also do their investigation. You have to remember, too, these men and women are brothers and sisters in blue. Let's not forget that this is definitely a very hard day for them as well, to know that an officer has been shot, and hopefully that person will be okay. We'll also have a live look also where Zaria Oates is in the medical district. She is at that hospital at Regional 1. Right now, we are still waiting on that press conference from Police Chief Davis to see exactly what information she can give us about what has happened there. A lot of police still there in that area as well. All right, let's go now back to Rebecca Butcher at that live scene. Rebecca, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Yvonne, I can tell you it's a frantic scene here. I've got parents and guardians, aunts and uncles just a few minutes, or just a few feet rather, in front of us behind the camera, trying to figure out exactly what's going on with Jeter. They want to know if their babies are okay. They have been placed on a lockdown. They have not heard from Memphis Shelby County Schools, I'm being told. We will also be reaching out to them if our team back at the station already hasn't, about if a shooter is still not been apprehended, or if that lockdown will be lifted in the hour or so to come. Now, what we do know here at this scene is that an officer, like we said, have been shot. So emotional day, like you said, Yvonne, for our brothers and sisters in blue. What we know is that the shooting happened earlier today. And what we want to know is exactly what led up to this shooting. What were the circumstances surrounding that? Our reporter Zaria is a Regional 1 waiting on Chief C.J. Davis to address media in a briefing on what exactly led up to this, the most recent condition of the officer shot, and if a suspect has been apprehended, detained, charged, or what will be the next steps in this incident. Now, it seems like things are snowballing, one thing leading to another in this situation. First, we've got 3 scenes here. One further south, a second at Horn Lake Road, Horn Lake Cove, where I believe our Brad Broders is, who you just heard from, and also this one, which is a bigger police presence in this Southwest Memphis and Whitehaven area. Of course, as we learn more, as we gather details, we'll update you. Back to you, Yvonne.
Right now, and go straight to that press conference at Regional 1.
There's a male black in a silver Infiniti, a QX40, dark tinted windows, chrome factory rims, chrome license plate, Tennessee 2X45F8. Right now the suspect's not in custody. We don't have all the details surrounding the situation. We only know that we do have an officer that has been shot. During this incident, we also had another officer that was trying to assist. He was involved in a crash when somebody struck his car. He was transported. He's in non-critical condition at this point.
Okay. And so just so we're clear, Chief Davis will come out and speak to us as well?
So right now she's with the family.
She is with the family. So the next of kin has been contacted. They know what's going on.
Yes.
Were any other officers involved in this incident? Were any other officers on the scene when this officer was shot?
I don't know. We don't know all the details. We don't know exactly what's going on. We do know that the officer was in the area supposedly on a investigation. Don't have the details on that yet either, but we'll update you once we get the information.
And we're saying black male, so we're looking for one suspect.
At this point, yes, one suspect. That's all the information.
Have both families been made aware?
I don't know exactly. I do know that family members have been contacted.
So the officer is speaking?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to him.
Do you know the nature of the suspect that you're looking for?
I'm sorry?
You know the nature of the suspect? Were they looking for this person?
No, we do not know. We only know the preliminary information right now that we have an officer that has been shot.
Where, you know where he was shot? fighting-wise?
Oh, no.
Any description of what the suspect might have been wearing that can help the public?
No, I don't have any additional information. So what we'll do is we'll update you guys as we receive additional information. But at this point, this is all we have. All right, thank you.
One more question. The car accident, how close to the actual scene did the car accident happen?
I don't know. I didn't make that scene. I think it was in the area because he was coming to assist the other officer.
And I know it's early in the investigation. Was the officer able to return fire? Do we know any of that?
No, at this point, it does not appear that any officer fired their weapon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you were just listening in live on a press conference. We were expecting Chief Davis. That was not Chief Davis, but an officer that was giving us an update. Let me get you everything that we know so far right now. We do know, again, that an MPD officer was shot. The officer was in the area on investigation. That is all that they've been able to give us right now. Not quite sure what that investigation was, but that's why that officer was there. Chief Davis right now, she says, is with the family of that officer. We do know at this time that police and investigators are looking for one shooter. They believe that person is a black male, but that's the only detail they were able to give us with that as well. Also, we're learning more details about, they were describing a car, a silver Infiniti with a Tennessee license plate that read 2X45F8. Again, no person is in custody, and again, they're looking for one person, one shooter. Again, an officer struck. An MPD officer was shot. That officer was in an area on investigation. That's all the details they know so far about what led up to the shooting. Also, Chief Davis is speaking with families. Again, they are looking for one shooter. We're saying on top of everything we know right now. And as we've been describing and explaining, there are several different scenes that are happening right now. Let's take a live picture at one of them and give you an update about what's going on. We're trying our best to stay on top of all of this information, but it's fluid. This right here is Regional 1 Hospital, where that officer is recovering. We weren't able to get much of an update about where this officer was shot, who this officer is, but all of those things will come out surely in the next few hours, maybe even weeks or days. But again, a lot of police officers still at that scene in Regional 1, keeping an update with that. Here's another live scene as well, where of course we've gotten reports of a police officer has been shot. There's also been, all right, we're gonna see if Brad Broders is available to give us an update. I believe he's at Jeter K-8. Brad, can you give us everything you know right now?
Yeah, I am. I'm right near Jeter K-8 school right now. I'm at Horn Lake as it's approaching Shelby off Highway 61. I want to take a step away. In just the last couple of minutes since I was last on air, the Memphis Police Mobile Command Center has shown up. Now, this road is not for through traffic right now, so any parent who's trying to pick up their child from Jeter K-8 school between Highway 61 and Shelby Drive, that part of Horn Lake is closed right now. And Elvis, if you don't mind panning over right now to Jeter K-8 school right now, I just want to give you a sense of this is on the intersection of Horn Lake and Shelby Drive. You can see not only is Jeter K-8 school reportedly still on lockdown, not only is the school on lockdown, there is plenty of law enforcement personnel that is on the property of this school. They've been here since as long as we've been on the scene for about 20 minutes, so we're going to continue to monitor this. The Mobile Command Center of the Memphis Police has also shown up. You can see this is still, as they're looking for that suspect involved in the shooting, you can see this is a very active crime scene right now. Plenty of law enforcement at the intersection of Horn Lake and Shelby Drive. And in the middle of this crime scene is a K-8 school that was in the middle of their school day when this incident came down. So we're going to try to see if when and if any parents can arrive to pick up their children at K-8 whenever this section of Horn Lake will be open again. We're still waiting to learn how long this stretch of Horn Lake will be closed. But again, it is the stretch of Horn Lake between Highway 61 and Shelby Drive. Right now, police are making them turn around. They did allow members of the media like myself and my video journalist Elvis through very briefly, but we are not allowed, obviously, through Shelby Drive, which remains an active crime scene. We're going to continue to monitor the situation right now as Jeter K-8 school remains on lockdown. Live in Southwest Memphis, I'm Brad Broders.
Brad, thank you so much for that update, especially good information to know as parents get ready for dismissal and to pick up their children. Once again, we are staying on top of the latest details of this shooting. We have an update online at ABC 24 and in our app as well. Let's talk about everything that we know so far. We had just actually wrapped up a few moments ago a press conference with an officer outside of Regional 1 Hospital. We were expecting to hear from the chief, but the chief is actually with families at this time. Everything that we know so far is that one MPD task force officer was shot. That officer was in an area on an investigation. That's all that we were able to find out from that officer that spoke with us. That officer was shot, but there was also a crash that was involved where another officer was there as well. But that second officer is expected to be okay also. Let's talk about this car that they're looking for. Police have described this silver Infiniti. They've given us a Tennessee license plate of 2X45F8 is that license plate that they're looking for. Right now, there is no one in custody. They're looking for, they say, a black male. And that's all the information they've been able to give us about who this alleged shooter is as well. Now, again, we're covering a large scope of this investigation. We're talking at least 3 different scenes and learning more details about each and every one of them. But again, ABC 24 is told that an MPD task force officer was shot. Rebecca Butcher is actually there at one of those scenes right now. Rebecca, what have you learned?
LaVon, I can tell you this is the biggest scene, one of 3 that I've been at all this afternoon since I've gotten to Southwest Memphis in the Whitehaven area. What we do know, like Yvonne, like we've been reporting for the last hour at least, an MPD officer has been shot. He or she was taken to Regional 1 Hospital, is in stable condition right now. Like you said, we were hoping to hear from Chief C.J. Davis, like we've learned that she is with the family right now, comforting them, I am sure, since that person had been injured. What we still want to know is more on what led up to this shooting. Like the officer briefed media just a few moments ago, was that the officer was in the area for an investigation. What type of investigation, we're not sure, if a warrant was being served or what were the details there that led up to that officer unfortunately being shot. What we do know is the shooter is still on the loose, a major concern for parents. I know Brad is at Jeter, but parents, aunts, and guardians have come to this area, this scene, trying to get information from police and us, the media, about if their kids are okay. Like we reported earlier, an aunt was frantic. It has been a little bit of a chaotic scene here with them trying to figure out information. She got a text from her niece saying that her school was on lockdown. Of course, they were concerned if that shooter was near that scene. Up to the last time I talked to her, she still hadn't heard from MSCS, so we're reaching out to the district to see what the next step is for those students, those kids at Jeter. Going to step out the way a little bit so you can see what's still going on. This scene is still up, has been for quite some time now as they work to still gather pieces of evidence from this scene. They have kept people off. Right now we're at Armstrong Road and Horn Lake Road, but the main part of that scene down there is further down. Now we do know that we've seen ATF officers, people in the area, big law enforcement presence here. We're still waiting to learn if we have more information on this shooter that has still not been apprehended. The only thing we know is that it is a male, an African-American male. Of course, we do want to get more details on what that person was wearing, key details to identify this person so they can quickly get this person apprehended. Like I said, parents are concerned. They want to make sure that their kids are okay. Like I said, if you have any information about a shooter or saw maybe anyone fleeing from this area, please let police know. Of course, that number is always the same, 901-528-CASH. Like I said, they're still trying to find that shooter. A car that has been described to us is a silver Infiniti, and we'll show you those plates again. But if you have any information, reach out to police. We'll still be here gathering all that we can. Back to you, Yvonne.
Rebecca, thank you so much. But before we let you go, I do want to ask you a question. Again, you've been mentioning you've been at 1, 2, 3 different scenes already today. This one that you're at right now, you say is the largest. Can you give us the scope of how large this actually is? Can you see where investigators start and end at this point?
Yeah, Vaughn. Well, we can zoom in a little bit here. We do know that Horn Lake Road and Shelby Drive, so kind of a main area here in the Whitehaven community. I just live just a few blocks further down north of this area. It looks like it's that main intersection. We have seen some pictures on the other side of this. From what we know, it does not go past that Horn Lake and Shelby Drive intersection. Looks like we have Memphis Police larger investigation van coming in. Usually that's a sign that they're going to be here for quite some more time. So it looks like this doesn't span past the Shelby Drive intersection, large intersection, and that's the command center we're seeing coming in. So it looks like they're going to be here for a while. We did learn that there was a crash involved in all this. The fallout, like we said, things have been snowballing since that officer was shot, and we did hear that there was a crash. We're still just making sure that no one was hurt, whether it be the officer or the person that they crashed into. From witnesses here on the scene, we heard that it was a black car that crashed possibly in that intersection. So we're still working to confirm those details. Yvonne?
Rebecca, thank you so much. We appreciate that update. And again, like she said, that command center coming in, it looks like they're going to be at that scene for quite some time, trying to figure out everything that happened. Let's break down everything that we know so far right now. We know that this all unfolded around noon this afternoon. An officer has been struck. That officer is with MPD's task force. We've been told that that officer was transported to Regional 1. That officer is in critical but stable condition at this time. Now, we've been told by an officer that was on scene at Regional 1 Hospital, who was able to give us an update at least 15, 20 minutes ago, that the officer was in the area on investigation. There was another officer as well that was involved in a crash. That second officer is going to be okay. But again, Chief Davis is with families at this time, speaking with them, trying to comfort them. I'm sure this is a brother or a sister in blue, a very devastating and hard day for them. Another thing that you should be aware of at this time is that police mentioned that they're looking for a car, specifically an Infiniti with a Tennessee license plate 2X45F8. Again, that's an Infiniti QX40 that they're looking for right now. And of course, we're keeping you updated. Again, this is a very, very complex investigation from our standpoint, because there's several different scenes, and we're working just to piece all of this together and give you the latest and most accurate information. We have crews spread out all across those 3 different scenes that we've been talking to you about right now. We're going to give you a live look with a lot of our crews as we're learning more details about that as well. Let's see, we've been speaking with Rebecca Butcher a lot, but let's now go to Brad Broders. We've been also told, Brad, that Jeter K-8, that lockdown has been lifted.
Lockdown has been lifted, but here's the problem right now. This stretch of Horn Lake between Highway 61 and Shelby Drive behind me at this point remains closed. They are rerouting traffic. They let the media in a little past where they are, but they don't let us any further, obviously, than this at Shelby Drive. We're on Horn Lake approaching Shelby Drive. Jeter is right to the right of that school right now. So while that lockdown has been lifted, if any parent is trying to come down Horn Lake towards Shelby to pick up their child, right now this stretch of Horn Lake is closed. We're waiting on word on when this stretch might be reopened. The problem is, I'm going to step out of the shot right now. You can still see this is a very active crime scene. There's plenty of police cruisers, not only down Horn Lake, across Shelby Drive. There's also first responders that are on the actual property of Jeter K-8 school. So although MSCS has announced that that lockdown has been lifted in the past couple of minutes, it's unclear when any parent may be able to come to Horn Lake and Shelby Drive to pick up their child or children, because this school remains in the middle of a crime scene. So while that lockdown has been lifted at Jeter K-8 school, this area still remains a very involved situation and investigation with plenty of police cruisers. The Memphis Police Mobile Command Center just a couple of minutes ago came down Horn Lake across Shelby Drive into more of the teeth of this active investigation site. So we're going to be on this side of this crime scene. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of multiple pieces in this investigation. We're hoping when parents are allowed to come pick up their children at Jeter K-8 school, we're hoping to speak with some of those parents as this fluid situation continues throughout the afternoon. We will continue to keep you monitored. Live in Southwest Memphis, I'm Brad Broders.
Brad, we appreciate that update. And just before you go, I did want to ask you as well. Of course, safety and security is on top of every single parent's mind right now when they hear about an officer being shot and that being so close to their school. Have you seen parents trying to get to the scene to get their kids?
I'm not sure exactly if they were parents, but you can hear we're just a short distance away up the hill there at Horn Lake from where parents are being rerouted. I've been hearing a couple of people seem to get kind of vocal. I'm not sure if that's a parent concerned about trying to get through and get to this school, which if you can see that police car that's flashing behind me kind of through that bush, that's essentially the outskirts of the Jeter school property. So parents presumably are trying to get in right now. Again, though, the problem is we don't know when this stretch of Horn Lake will reopen. You can see it's not just Horn Lake up through Shelby Drive, but both sides of Shelby Drive through this stretch across Horn Lake are also closed. This is obviously an important intersection in this section of the city of Memphis, but right now no one is allowed, much less any parents of Jeter K through 8 students. So we will continue to monitor, and as soon as we see any activity, any opening of this street, we will continue to keep you posted as soon as that happens. Live in Southwest Memphis, I'm Brad Broders.
Brad, thank you very much. And for all the parents out there, as hard as it is, hang tight and know that your babies will be okay. And we're going to keep you updated as soon as you can go and get them from school. Let's go now to Zaria Oates, who is live at Regional 1 Hospital in the medical district. Zaria, we just got that press conference minutes ago from an officer. What can you tell us?
Yes, Yvonne, we're still out here outside of Regional 1 Trauma Center where the officer was transported. Now, we expected to hear from Chief Davis as the communications people came out earlier and informed us that Chief Davis would be out here to give a press conference, taking no questions. However, the department's Karen Rudolph came and answered some questions, gave us an update on the families, saying that Chief Davis was inside of the hospital with the family that is there. Now, Karen Rudolph did say that she's not sure if all the families have been notified. As we do know, there are 2 officers. One officer, the first one who was shot, is stable but in critical condition. The second officer is in non-critical condition. Now let's hear a little bit from that presser from earlier.
We received information around 12:45 this afternoon from one of our officers advising that he had been shot. He was transported to the hospital in critical condition. Now he's stable. The suspect that was responsible for the shooting is described as a male black in a silver Infiniti, a QX40, dark tinted windows, chrome factory rims, chrome license plate, Tennessee 2X45F8. Right now the suspect's not in custody. We don't have all the details surrounding the situation. We only know that we do have an officer that has been shot. During this incident, we also had another officer that was trying to assist. He was involved in a crash when somebody struck his car. He was transported. He's in non-critical condition at this point.
As Karen Rudolph did say, that license plate number is 2X45F8. Now, we are looking for a silver Infiniti. If you do have any information, make sure you contact the police department. We will keep you updated here as we get more information. Again, those officers are both stable, the first one being in critical condition but stable, and the second one being in non-critical condition. Back to you.
Zaria, thank you so much for that update. We do want to ask you a few questions as well. The police presence in front of the hospital, is that growing or has it stayed about the same since you've been there?
Yeah, Yvonne, it seems like there's been kind of some scarcity among the police right now. There were a lot of police officers lining this street here, maybe leaving 2 or 3 spots for other people to come in and park. Now those police officers are exiting the scene and at the very least turning off their lights and, you know, moving to a different parking spot to where they're not taking up some space from right in front of Regional 1. Since the officer was taken here, we haven't seen any other ambulance enter the trauma area. We're not sure if there's a specific reason for that, but there hasn't been another ambulance outside of the one that was carrying the officer enter the trauma center.
Zaria, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Let's walk you through everything we know so far in case you're just joining us here on ABC 24. What we do know is that an MPD officer has been shot. That officer, like Zaria mentioned, is recovering at Regional 1 Hospital. That officer is in critical but stable condition. We've been told by Officer Rudolph in front of Regional 1 that that officer that was shot was in an area on investigation. We don't have any details about exactly what that investigation entailed, but that's why that person was there. We were also told that another officer was trying to assist the first one, but the second officer actually got into a wreck. That person was hurt, but should be okay. And again, police have been telling us that they are actually looking for the alleged gunman, the shooter, the suspect. We've been told that that person was in a silver Infiniti. That license plate that they're looking for, it's a Tennessee plate. It is 2X45F8. Again, that is a Tennessee license plate that they're looking for as well. Let's go now to Rebecca Butcher, who is live at one of 3 scenes that we've been working this evening. Rebecca, what can you tell us?
Well, Yvonne, like I said, it's 3 scenes here. This one is the biggest one, but I've been at all 3 today. This is what we know so far up to this hour. MPD officer shot, by whom we're still not clear. The only suspect description that we have is a black male. We're working to figure out what they might have been wearing, dark or light clothing, hat, no hat, those type of things, what type of shoes. Also, we do know that that shooter is still on the loose. If you have any information, we want you to dial 901-528-CASH so they can apprehend that person. Now, we know at this time that Jeter, we believe that lockdown, like we reported, has been lifted. Spoke to a couple of guardians and aunts and a parent out here today. They were concerned, hadn't heard yet anything from MSCS up until that hour on what was going on with their babies inside of that school, Jeter K-8 school that's also in this area. Now, this is the biggest thing. Like we said, I'm going to step out of the way and show you what we got going on here. This is at Horn Lake Road and Shelby Drive, actually very near, close where I live. This happened while I was on my way to another story today. What we know is that we've seen the Memphis Police Command Center come in. That happened during my last live shot just about, and what we know is that means they're going to be here for a little bit. They're still gathering as much information as we can. This is a little bit of a twofold scene, we believe, here at this biggest scene. The officer was shot in this area, but also there was a crash that happened in this area with another officer trying to assist. That lines up with what we've heard from witnesses here on the scene. We know that that person who was in the vehicle, the citizen, has been taken, rushed to the hospital, and also the officer who was involved in that crash while trying to assist the officer who was shot had been taken to the hospital as well. We believe they're expected to be okay. Now, at this time, we know that that officer who was shot by a citizen is in stable but critical condition. So what that means is right now they're okay. Life signs are all right, but they're still monitoring them. There's still a chance that things could go just a little bit wrong. So they're monitoring that person. We know that Chief C.J. Davis, she has been speaking, comforting the family as well. We did hear from Karen Rudolph. She is the top spokesperson for MPD, one of the top, and we learned from her that this resulted as an officer was out on an investigation of some type. We're still trying to figure out if there was a warrant or if there was another scene that officer was responding to, whether it was domestic in nature or exactly what were the circumstances that led up to this officer being shot. Like we said, the shooter still in the loose. If you have any information, please call Memphis Police 901-528-CASH. Yvonne?
Rebecca, thank you. We also want to talk to you just a little bit. Again, this is one of the largest scenes that you've described, and you've been at several different ones this afternoon. Rebecca, can you show us and can you tell us how police presence has changed, if any? That scene still looks extremely active, especially with that command post coming in.
Yes. Yes, like we said, this is the biggest scene in this Whitehaven, Southwest Memphis area that we've seen. Right now I'm at Horn Lake Road and Armstrong Road, and it kind of spans back to Horn Lake Road and also Shelby Drive. So we haven't seen much change here. We still see a lot of officers here, and we've also, like I said, seen this command center come in. So that's a big sign that they're going to be posted up here as they gather details. Like we said, they're working a couple of different angles here. So it might be a case where they've got to remain here at this scene until the other scenes are wrapped up as they try to connect the dots of the timeline, if they haven't already connected those dots. I'm assuming they have on exactly what led up to what at each scene. If this is where the suspect fled, or if this is where, you know, that crash happened where that officer was trying to assist with the officer who was shot and injured. So not much has changed here. Like we reported earlier, there were a few ATF law enforcement as well, but we've seen them still gathering details at this hour.
Absolutely, Rebecca. And then I see actually a lot of cars just trying to pass and bypass that area as crews do their work because it is shut down for so long.
Absolutely, yeah. They have been redirecting traffic this way, making sure people are still flowing. Of course, you know, people are going to stop and have questions about if things are safe, are their kids safe, that type of thing. And we do not, like I said, that lockdown had been lifted, but traffic is being rerouted back up this way, most likely to 3rd and other nearby roads to where these people can get to where they're going.
Rebecca, thank you so much. And again, you can stay on top of the latest details right here with us on air, but you can also do that with our ABC 24 News app. We're going to send you push alerts throughout the day as we get more information. So if you don't have it, download it now. It is free in the App Store and in Google Play. But right now, let's take another live look at that scene. And let's speak with Brad Broders, who is live outside of Jeter K-8 as that lockdown has been lifted. But right now, parents still unable to get to the area to get to their kids. Brad.
Yeah, Yvonne, since the last live hit, I moved a little closer to the school. I'm going to take a step away just to give you a sense. Although the lockdown has been lifted, as you just mentioned, take a look at this. This is on the campus of Jeter K-8 school. There are multiple law enforcement vehicles that remain on the site despite that lockdown being lifted. I'm not seeing really anyone leaving this school, and the problem is, Yvonne, that right now parents are not able to get to this school because two major thoroughfares in this section of Memphis, Shelby Drive and Horn Lake, remain closed for traffic as this investigation continues behind me. So we are waiting on any word on when traffic can again move through this stretch of Horn Lake as well as that stretch of Shelby Drive behind me. Right now, this is the middle of this active investigation. Parents are not allowed to come in and pick up their children. And this school, you oftentimes hear of lockdowns being lifted, and maybe it was because of an incident that happened a quarter of a mile away, a half a mile away. But this is unique for these kind of situations that I've covered in the past, because right now, even though the lockdown has been lifted, we're not seeing any foot traffic, we're not seeing any parents arrive, we're not seeing any children leave, and we're still seeing a lot of law enforcement vehicles on this property of Jeter K-8 school, which is at the intersection of Horn Lake and Shelby Drive, just yards from where this active investigation continues behind me. We're waiting on any potential break in the action or when traffic might kind of start flowing through here again, but right now they're rerouting folks on Shelby Drive as well as Horn Lake Drive. For the time being, we're hopeful that this will be lifted soon so parents can come and pick up their children, maybe even before dismissal. I'm sure there's a lot of concerned parents knowing how close this scene is to this K-8 school. We're going to continue to keep you monitored, but for now, again, Horn Lake and Shelby Drive, this section in southwest Memphis, remains closed for through traffic because it's in the middle of this investigation after that Memphis police officer shot just a short while ago or earlier this afternoon. So we're going to continue to keep you monitored. For now, live in southwest Memphis, I'm Brad Broders.
Hey, Brad, another thing before you go, definitely, I can only imagine how parents are feeling right now who have kids at that school, knowing how close that school is to that shooting and that incident that took place around noon this afternoon. What maybe a sign of comfort could be that there is so much police presence at that school, making sure that safety and security is among the top priority for parents and for those kids.
Certainly, exactly right, Yvonne. That's the observation that I'm making right now. Elvis, if you don't mind just kind of painting, I'll just give you a sense of perspective here. I mean, this is the side of Jeter K-8 school, but you can see just cruisers of Memphis Police, marked vehicles, unmarked vehicles, continuing to be by the side door right here on the side of this campus here at Horn Lake and Shelby Drive. So you're absolutely right, Yvonne. I mean, this is certainly the lockdown may have been lifted, but again, we're not seeing any foot traffic. I mean, school hours are still in place, obviously, right now, but we're not seeing anyone leaving. We're not seeing any parents able to come to this area to pick up their children if they were just concerned and wanted to come and pick up their child earlier. So our eyes are all over this intersection intersection. We're waiting for kind of a break in this traffic to reopen, but right now it remains closed. Just another sign of how many multiple scenes there are in this area after this officer was shot earlier this afternoon. It's with that suspect reportedly still not being found yet. There's still an active situation across the city. I mean, even about 20 minutes ago, Yvonne, we saw 2 police cruisers just really going down fast on Horn Lake. So, you know, this it just shows you the active sense of this investigation. I'm hearing sirens in the distance right now to kind of highlight that point. So we're continuing to be kind of on this section of this active scene, and we'll continue to monitor, and any new developments and new observations that I see, I'll make sure to pass that along. Live in Southwest Memphis, I'm Brad Broders.
Brad, thank you. Just one last question for you before we let you go. Wanted to hear, I know you're working the scene and trying to gather information. Have you heard anything from the school district, anything else or anything new at this time?
At 1:57, our team, my teammate alerted me that the lockdown had been lifted. So what are we at now? That's about more than 20 minutes since then. I've not heard any additional email from the district. I continue to check my phone for updated messages from the district. The last message that I saw on our stream of breaking news was at 1:57 when MSCS announced that the lockdown had been lifted. Although the lockdown had been lifted, I have to reiterate, though, there's no one's really leaving the school. Parents are not allowed to come to the school at this very moment. So while there's a lockdown being lifted, there's still a heavy police presence, and this school still has a sense of being in the middle of this active investigation, despite that lockdown being lifted about 20 or so minutes ago. Yvonne.
Brad, thank you so much for the update. And parents, I know as hard as it is, please do your best to hang tight and know that your babies will be okay, and that hopefully you'll be able to soon go and get them from school. All right, if you're just now joining us here on ABC 24, let's talk about everything that we know right now about this situation. One thing, a task force officer with Memphis Police has been shot and is in critical but stable condition. That officer was taken to Regional 1 Hospital, and the school nearby, Jeter K-8, was on lockdown. But again, like Brad Broders has just reported, that has been lifted, and parents are now waiting on more information about when they can come and pick up their kids, because that street is still blocked off while investigators are doing their work. Also, while responding, another officer was involved in this crash, and there is a suspect still on the run. The shooter has not been apprehended. That officer, the second one, is going to be okay. They were injured slightly, but they're going to be okay. Again, the car that police are looking for is an Infiniti Q40. Tennessee plates 2X45F8. Again, if you know anything about this shooting, you are encouraged to call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. And we have been continuously doing stream and live coverage of all of this. Regional 1 is definitely one of those scenes that we've been at. We have Zaria Oates that's been there covering that, and she just had a press conference with Officer Rudolph, who was giving us an information about exactly what we can see. Again, team coverage everywhere with Brad Broders, Zaria Oates, and Rebecca Butcher. Who can we take right now? Can we go to Zaria Oates at Regional 1? There we are. Zaria, what can you tell us that's new from your perspective?
Yes, Yvonne, what we know right now is still that Chief Davis is on the inside with the families that have arrived. We're still on the suspecting that there has been one family that has arrived so far. The other family, we're not quite sure, but there has been a call made to that family. Now, Karen Rudolph did say that some of these suspects have not been in custody, but as of right now, we're not sure if that's still the case. Now, we are updating that the suspects were in a silver car, but we're not quite sure if they're still in that vehicle. Now, right now, there are some cars still here behind me. If you see, there are some officers who have left the scene, and then some officers who have come to the scene still blocking off that road, because there has been a little bit more traffic than there was here before. But as of right now, we do not know any more updated information on those officers.
All right, Zaria, thank you so much. Breaking news into the newsroom right now. We have just been told that Doubletree Elementary School is now on lockdown. No information as to why at this point. I'm working to see how close in proximity that school is to the several different scenes that we're working on right now. Again, that is Doubletree Elementary that is now on lockdown, but do not confuse that with Jeter K-8 that is not on lockdown. However, parents are not able at this point to get to their kids because of that investigation in the area and because police are still working that scene there. But again, Doubletree Elementary School is on lockdown right now. Okay, let's talk now about everything that we know, because we're getting more information. This is all becoming a little more clear. Rebecca Butcher is live at the scene right now. And Rebecca, what can you show us about what's happening right now on your end?
Yeah, well, Yvonne, we've been here at least an hour. We now have a new vantage point of the biggest scene of three that's been in the southwest Memphis, Whitehaven area. Going to step out of the way. We reported to you that in addition to the officer who was shot earlier today, that a separate officer who was trying to assist crashed. Now, if you can see, we're going to zoom in. Yeah, we've zoomed in. That vehicle is in someone's yard right there at Shelby and Horn Lake Road. That officer has been rushed to Regional 1, non-critical, but that other car, I believe it's a black sedan, sedan, that person was also taken to Regional 1. We're still working to get information on his or her condition at this time. So things have been snowballing. First, we had an officer shot. MPD say that they were in the area conducting an investigation. We're still working to learn what type, if there was a warrant that was being served, or if they were responding to some other type of incident, domestic or non-domestic in nature. We've had adults and, of course, people who live in this area, being rerouted. And currently at this time, as police still work to get all details they can from the scene right now, we have seen the Memphis Police Command Center roll in the last hour, typically a sign that they're going to be here for a while as they work not only this scene, but the other two as well. Now, as we've been reporting, I've been to all three scenes. We do know that this is the biggest one. There's another one at Horn Lake Road and Horn Lake Cove. That's a bit south of me right now. And then another one, the first one that I drove through, they were still working to get that crime tape up when I got here around the 1 o'clock hour. I'm sure they've gotten that crime tape up right now. We want to impress upon the public they still are looking for this shooter. Only description we have is just little details at this moment. A black male, working to learn what that person was wearing at the time of this incident. Again, that shooter hasn't been apprehended yet. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers at number 901-528-CASH. Yvonne?
Rebecca, that is one of our first chances of actually seeing that crushed up MPD cruiser. We hadn't seen that yet in the last hour or so that we've been on the air. Also wanted to ask you as well, sometimes when all of these things happen, when an officer is shot, when there is an investigation of this magnitude, you see other agencies on different scenes like the TBI or the ATF. Have you seen them at this time?
Right now, we have not gotten any word that the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is taking over this investigation. What typically happens is they take over when an officer shoots a citizen, but that was not the case in this incident. It was a citizen who shot an officer. So we have not seen TBI. We have not heard from them at this moment that they would be making their way to this scene. It would be Kelly McAllister who would make that known either by tweet or by phone to us. We have not yet gotten information from her at this time, but usually they come when they are taking over the investigation. Right now, we have not seen any other crews. I've had my eye out trying to see if maybe DeSoto County Sheriffs or South Haven Police might be assisting at this time, but it looks like MPD has been handling this investigation up until this point.
Rebecca, thank you so much. We really appreciate the update. Another big update that just came into our newsroom just a few minutes ago is that Doubletree Elementary School is on lockdown right now. We've learned that that school is about almost 4 miles away from this investigation. Again, that is Doubletree Elementary on lockdown. And let's not get that confused with Jeter K-8. That is not on lockdown. They were on lockdown a little earlier today, but that lockdown has been lifted by the district. And unfortunately, parents haven't been able to come and get their kids and pick them up for dismissal at Jeter K-8. It is likely the same scene near Doubletree Elementary that parents most likely are not able to come and pick up their kids. But again, Doubletree Elementary is on lockdown as police search and search for the shooter and continue this investigation as well. For those of you that are just joining us at 2:32 this afternoon, we've been doing coverage on everything we know about this shooting so far. I want to walk you through the highlights of what we know right now as more information has been continuously pouring into our newsroom. And again, for us, we're trying to piece it all together. Officers are giving us as much as they can while they work. We've been told that this all unfolded around noon this afternoon. One scene was at Horn Lake Road and Horn Lake Cove. That's in southwest Memphis. We've been told that an officer, an MPD task force officer, was shot. That officer was in the area in southwest Memphis on investigation. The details of that right now are unclear. Police have not been able to tell us what exactly that investigation was. We also were told by police that another officer was trying to assist this officer, and that second officer had a crash. Rebecca Butcher was able to show us what looked like could have been that MPD cruiser that was really mangled up and mashed up. That second officer is expected to be okay. The officer in the hospital, we want to make abundantly clear, is in critical but stable condition. That officer is at Regional 1. Now, another thing that police need your help with, they need help finding the shooter. Police have given us a little information about the car that they're looking for. It is a 2015 Silver Infiniti Q40. That license plate is 2X45F8. Again, 2X45F8. It is a Tennessee license plate. That is all of the information that we have about this suspect, who we believe or know to be a male. But if you have any information, you are strongly encouraged to call Crime Stoppers. That number is one we know very well. It's 901-528-CASH. All right, let's go now back to Regional 1 Hospital, where Zaria Oates has been keeping us updated. Zaria, what can you see from your vantage point? Have things changed on the scene at all?
Yeah, Yvonne, a lot of the traffic here has slowed down and even come to a complete stop to where it normally is, of regular cars coming in and out. No new ambulances have come to the scene. As of what we know right now, Officer 1, who was shot, is in critical condition but is still stable as of right now. And Officer 2, who was involved in that car crash and is injured, is in non-critical condition. Now, as of right now, we still have this cop car who has not seemingly moved, but not much else has happened here other than that press conference that we had earlier with Commander Karen Rudolph. Now, Rudolph did say that Chief Davis would be speaking to the media, but Chief Davis did not come out here and give us any information, as Chief Davis is currently with the family that is inside of the hospital. Now, we aren't sure which families are inside of the hospital, but at least one has made it out here since the incident happened. Yvonne, that's all we've got for you right now.
Zaria, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And again, just seeing that large police presence there, it definitely is a heavy and heartbreaking day for them to know that one of their officers, a brother or a sister in blue, has been shot. Have you seen police officers? We see their cars, but have you seen them come in and out of the hospital at this time?
Yeah, Yvonne, earlier when the scene was still pretty live and pretty hectic, there were many police officers who were pulling up to the scene with their lights on and flashing, and many officers who were coming in and out of the hospital and then going back into their cars to leave once we did know that the officer was in stable condition. Now, we do believe that the officer still is in stable condition, but, you know, that police presence of other officers and other brothers and sisters in blue has come down. Yvonne, back to you.
Zaria, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Again, new information, the newest information that we've gotten into our newsroom right now is that Doubletree Elementary School is on lockdown. But let us not confuse Doubletree Elementary with Jeter K-8, which is not on lockdown right now. That is where Brad Broders is. That's near the crime scene. Let's go now to Brad to see what's new with him in that area.
Yeah, Yvonne, a fluid situation, every live hit, there's something different. In the last 2 minutes, one school bus just showed up. You can see that right here on Horn Lake. Now, I want to caution, it's only one school bus. You can also see right now that police officers continue to be on this property. It looks like some might be getting in their patrol vehicles, and it appears they might be driving away. So it appears that there is some sign of life, Yvonne, for this stretch of Shelby Drive in Horn Lake, where Jeter Jeter K-8 school potentially reopening soon. And if that's the case, then parents can come if they want to pick up their child early before the dismissal if they so choose, because this situation happened in the noon hour. So understandably, some concerned parents, because that shooting happened in the 12 o'clock hour. The lockdown here at Jeter K-8 school not lifted until about 2 o'clock this afternoon. So what, about more than a half an hour ago. As I mentioned in the last live hit over here in this section at this scene, Yvonne, though, although the lockdown has been lifted, this school is very much still quiet with activity, at least until now, when a couple police vehicles are leaving the scene. But parents are still not allowed to come to this area to pick up their children. So right now, until that happens, they can't get here to get their children. Although, again, I have to reiterate, one bus did show up. I believe this, not entirely sure of this dismissal at the school, but if it's 3 o'clock, then we're less than half an hour from dismissal at Jeter K-8 school. So we're going to continue to see signs of any kind of life of reopening this section. I know there's a lot of parents out there, Jeter parents, who are wanting to come get their child, because again, that lockdown was lifted a little bit before 2 o'clock. But at this very moment, I have to reiterate, Horn Lake, if you're coming off of 61, making a left towards Shelby Drive, that section of Horn Lake is stopped for now. You have to be turned around, and they're also not allowing traffic in Shelby Drive. And so it looks like not quite sure where the school bus is heading now. It appeared that they were going to be here to be able to pick up the children, but it looks like cones are here, so we're just waiting on word right now, Yvonne, of when children can be dismissed and when parents can come and pick up their children. Live in Southwest Memphis, I'm Brad Broders.
Brad, thank you so much. We appreciate the update. Hopefully a very hopeful update for parents that at least a little bit of traffic is happening in that area, with that school bus even being able to come through. All right, let's do a recap of everything we know right now. We've been told that at noon is when a lot of this started unfolding, when we were told that an MPD officer, a task force officer, was shot and taken to Regional 1 Hospital. We have been live with team coverage there all afternoon with Zaria Oates giving us an update. But I want to walk you through everything that we know right now, because information is coming in and out. The situation is very fluid from our end as we're receiving all of this information from police and doing our best to give it to you in a way that you can really understand it. There's 3 big things that are happening right now, and I want to walk you through what we know. First, we know an MPD officer was shot, a task force officer. That officer was transported to Regional 1. That person is in critical but stable condition. A very important update on him or her. We've also been told by police that a second officer was hurt in a crash while trying to assist this first officer. That second officer is expected to be okay as well. At last check, Police Chief Davis was with families at the hospital. Not sure if it's Officer 1 family or if it's the second officer's family, but she is there with them as well. We're hoping that we can hear from her in the next few minutes or hours to come about this investigation. We don't know much about what led up to this shooting other than the first officer was in that area in Southwest Memphis on investigation. Those are all the details we have right now, but police are asking for your help today as well. They're looking for the shooter. That shooter, they've been told, or they're looking for a car connected to that shooter. That is a 2015 Silver Infiniti Q40. That license plate is a Tennessee license plate 2X45F8. Again, 2X45F8. If you have seen this car, if you know anything about what has happened, you can call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. Another big update, probably one of the newest pieces of information that we've gotten into our newsroom right now, and it's one that parents need to know. That Doubletree Elementary is on lockdown right now. Again, that is about 3, maybe 4 miles, about 10 minutes away from this crime scene. And that's all the information we know about that at this time. We're going to keep parents updated, as I'm sure it's, getting closer to 3 o'clock and you're waiting to go and pick up your babies. We're going to let you know everything we know about that lockdown, but also Jeter K-8, where Brad Broders is. That school is not on lockdown. It was earlier today, but that lockdown has been lifted. However, parents haven't been able to go and get their kids just yet because the street is still blocked off during this investigation. Okay, again, we have team coverage around all over this, making sure that we have the most current and updated information. Let's go now to Rebecca Butcher, who is live at that scene in Southwest Memphis. Rebecca, any changes on your end at this point?
Yvonne, I can tell you that this scene is still active. Not much has changed. This is still the biggest scene out of 3 on this road here near Shelby Drive. We're right now here near Horn Lake Road as well as Shelby Drive. The scene right here is a response to an officer who was shot earlier today. They, like you said, are still looking for that shooter. So we want to impress upon, anyone who might have heard anything, seen anything, any eyewitnesses, contact Crime Stoppers. Of course, that number always 901-528-CASH. But also here, it's two things going on. We got a crash from another officer who was trying to assist the officer who was shot. Well, they crashed and wrecked with a citizen who was driving a black sedan. Now, you can see that MPD officer crashed. We're zoomed in on it, I believe. You can see that officer crashed in someone's front yard, mangled, a lot of damage there. We know that officer from police is expected to be okay, was taken to Regional 1. That other driver who was in that black car, we're still working to learn how that person is. A lot of wreckage to that. So we're still working to learn. We're hoping that person is okay as well, that was just driving through this area, trying to get to where they were going. So at this about the last half hour, we've seen the Memphis Police Command Center pull up here, always a sign that they are going to be camped out here while they work and continue their investigation, collecting details, whether that involves shells casings, whatever they need to collect to connect the dots of not one, but three scenes here in the Southwest Memphis and Whitehaven area. The first scene that I pulled up to was further south. The second scene, a little bit closer this way, was at Horn Lake Road and Horn Lake Cove. It was in a residential area. I did see police speaking with a citizen there, and I'm not sure if that was someone who just lived in the area or was connected somehow to this incident. Now, what we've learned from police is that the officer who was shot earlier today by this citizen, this shooter, that officer was out on an investigation. We're still working to learn the details of their business out here, what was going on surrounding the circumstances surrounding that officer being shot, what led up to that. Of course, our thoughts and prayers are with that officer and that officer's family, and we're still working to learn more about the shooter at this point. We don't know anything. We don't know much. We know police have said they are looking for a black male. We're working to learn more details, of course, maybe what clothing the person was wearing. We have gotten a suspect vehicle description of a silver Infiniti. We've been having the plates up for that. So if you know anything, heard anything, we definitely want you to reach out to Crime Stoppers. Again, that number 901-528-CASH. We still have seen guardians of Jeter school kids still out here. Although that lockdown has been lifted, we're hearing from one guardian they still have not been able to get to their little one, their niece at this time. She got a text from her niece. She said frantic when they did go into lockdown at the time. At that time, she still hadn't heard from MSCS, so I'll be getting back in contact with her to see if that has changed at this hour. Of course, when we know more, we'll update you. Yvonne?
Rebecca, definitely a lot going on, especially now you're saying that you've had a chance to speak with some people who have kids at Jeter K-8. Are you able to tell us how many people are still out there looking at that scene? Not investigators, but just people in general in the community that are there.
Yeah, it's at least about 5 or 6 people. It seems like maybe some parents or some mothers are here camped out, shaded in the area, still trying to get some more information. I did see someone, a younger fella who might have been just graduated school in the area or still a student himself, still trying to figure out what was going on. It was him that told us about this crash before police did, actually, about that person. We're hoping again they're okay, but people definitely want to know where the shooter is. They want the shooter captured so they can get back to life and get back to getting their kids. Of course, we hope that officer is okay, and the quicker that shooter can get apprehended, the quicker things can kind of go back to normal here. Yvonne?
Rebecca, thank you so much. We really appreciate that update. Let's go now and take a live look at a different scene. This would be a different scene here at Doubletree Street and Deer Trail Lane near Doubletree Elementary. Now here at ABC 24, we are all about facts, not fear. We can't confirm anything about this scene right now. We do want to say that this could be to protect the students as the Doubletree shooting or the Doubletree school is on lockdown. But again, this is another scene that we are watching very, very closely at Doubletree Street and Deer Trail Lane near Doubletree Elementary. Again, facts, and we'll bring them to you when we have them. But again, another scene that we're watching as well. And we have team coverage all over these developments. Again, this is so fluid for us as we're trying to learn more information about what's going on and what will happen in the hours and the days to come as police are continuing their investigation right now and as they're looking for that shooter. Let's walk you through everything that we know so far while we have a minute if you're just joining us now at 2:47 this afternoon. We've been told that this all unfolded around noon. One major scene, Horn Lake Road and Horn Lake Cove, that's in southwest Memphis, where an officer was shot. That officer was with Memphis Police. It's a task force officer. He or she was shot, sent to Regional 1 Hospital, and that person is in critical but stable condition. We do know that the officer was in an area on investigation. That's the biggest detail that police could give us about all of that. Again, there's a second officer that was actually trying to assist the first officer in this incident. That second officer was hurt in a crash and was also taken to Regional 1 Hospital, but that person should be okay. Speaking of Regional 1, Zaria Oates is there right now, keeping us up to date with everything that we know so far. Zaria, we were hoping to speak with the police chief or hear from the police chief sometime soon, but it sounds like she's very busy with family.
Good afternoon, Yvonne. Yeah, it does seem as though the police chief is busy with family. Chief Davis was supposed to come out here and speak with the media, but she did not. It seems as though they replaced her with Memphis Police Department's Commander of Public Information, Karen Rudolph, who came out here earlier and as of around 2 p.m. said that there were no suspects in custody. However, at the time, both officers were in stable condition, with the first officer who was shot being in stable condition but in critical condition, and the officer that was not shot but in a car accident was in non-critical condition. Now, we do not have any other updates regarding the officers. However, we are hoping that the communications team does come out here and give us another update. Again, we did have that presser with Karen Rudolph regarding the suspects and the current state of the officers. Yvonne, that's all I've got for right now.
Zaria, we appreciate that. I do want to mention this as well, too, though. When incidents like this happen, you see a lot of police presence in front of that hospital. And you see that for a couple of different reasons. Number one, for safety of the officers, the families that are there, but also as a sign of support and solidarity. Zaria, has the outside, the police presence there, has that changed in the last hour or so for you?
You know, Yvonne, it has changed a little bit, but it doesn't mean that the solidarity is not there. It seems as though at the beginning of the incident, lots of police cars came in with their lights on, showing immediate support, trying to block off streets, as is standard for when an officer is shot or injured in the line of duty. However, since the incident has calmed down just a little bit, some of the officers have left the scene or even stayed at the scene with their lights on, like some officers here behind me, but they have not left the scene completely. They're just kind of clearing the area, making sure that other people who do need to get into the hospital are able to park here and get inside of the hospital. Now, some officers have gone inside and come back outside and left and, you know, come and go, but the officers do seem to continue to come through the hospital to show their support for their fellow soldier.
Zaria, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And they need all the support and the love and prayer that they can get at this time. All right, let's go now back to this live picture, Doubletree Street and Deer Trail Lane near Doubletree Elementary. Now, this could be a scene to protect students as the Doubletree school is on lockdown right now. We were just notified about that lockdown maybe about 20 minutes or so ago. All right, that is, again, a scene that we're watching very closely to make sure the kids are okay, and we'll bring you the latest information when we know more developments that come from that. Let's go now to Brad Broders, who is live at Jeter K-8 school. Oh, he is, okay, he is headed to the scene at Doubletree Elementary School, or to that scene as well. We're going to get an update from him when we know more about that also. Okay, let's walk you through a lot of everything that we know right now, because there is a lot of information that we've been getting within the last hour or so, maybe hour and a half of everything that's happened so far. We know that this incident happened around noon this afternoon, where an officer was shot. The most recent, most up-to-date information on that officer's condition at this time is that the first officer was shot in in critical but stable condition at Regional 1. This all happened in Southwest Memphis, as you saw on that map. There was a second officer involved. That second officer was actually hurt in a crash trying to assist the first one, but that second officer is expected to be okay. Chief Davis, again, is speaking with families and comforting them at this time. And we totally understand and respect that as well. And we have been given updates from officers about what's happened. This is the latest information that we have. They are looking for a shooter. This is all the information that we know about the shooter and this person's possible vehicle. They're looking for a silver Infiniti with a Tennessee license plate TX45F8. Again, a silver 2015 Q40 Infiniti is what they're looking for. And they're asking anyone with information to call 901-528-CASH and let police know. We have been at 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 different scenes at this point, piecing together all of the information that we have right now. And again, we're going to keep you updated here on air, but also online and through our mobile app. So if you haven't already downloaded that mobile app, this is a great time to go ahead and do that so that you don't miss an update while we're trying to bring you more information about what's happening. Parents, here's a big update for you as well. Doubletree Elementary School at last check is still on lockdown, and Jeter K-8 is not on lockdown. But at last check, we weren't able to see any crews coming in and out of either one of those places because police are working very closely nearby on all of this. They're seeing several places in Southwest Memphis. This is a live look and a picture right now. You can see a lot of police in that area. You can also see what looks to be maybe an ambulance in that area, but several cars. I believe this is the area of Doubletree Street and Deer Trail Lane near Doubletree Elementary. It looks like they could be looking for someone in the neighborhood. We're going to keep you updated on that, as this, again, is one of these things that we're watching very closely to see what comes out of it. But again, this is Deer Tree Street and Deer Trail Lane near Doubletree Elementary. All right. Let's go now. All right, let's talk about the app that you can use while we're getting these updates, and again, while we're trying our best to give them to you both on air and online. That app is free to download in the App Store and Google Play, and we will, of course, give you pressing updates, and we'll push them out to you to your phone and to your mobile device. All right, let's go now to Rebecca Butcher, who has been live for more than an hour, hours at this point, at the scene in Southwest Memphis. Rebecca, what can you tell us?
Well, Yvonne, this is the biggest scene of 3 that I have personally been at today. This is right now here near Shelby Drive and also Horn Lake Road. I'm going to show you a little bit about what's going on. Since we've been here, Memphis Police Command Center has come in at least the last half hour to an hour. Big sign that they're going to be camped out here for a while they still collect details of this large investigation involving 3 scenes, like I said. First, we know an officer was shot earlier today around the noon hour, and we know that officer has been taken to Regional 1, he or she in critical but stable condition. So they're still monitoring that officer to make sure they're okay, that task force officer. Now, another officer involved and was responding in assisting the officer who was shot. They crashed with a black sedan. Now, we're going to zoom into that police car already. That officer crashed and landed in someone's front yard. That black car also landed there as well, not far from that front yard. We've heard that officer who crashed is expected to be okay. The condition of that citizen driver in that black car, unknown. Now, it looks like we do have an ambulance coming through that area where Shelby Drive is. No word. We're assuming that is a different scene that they're coming to, since the scene has been here for over an hour and things have been pretty steady here, but they let that ambulance go through. We have seen a few ATF officers on scene here as well. What law enforcement agency we've not seen is TBI or any other Mississippi departments or law enforcement assisting in this right now. What we do know, though, is that the shooter, the person who shot this task force officer, is still on the run, still on the loose. So if you have any information on who that person is or where they might have fled to, we want you to call Crime Stoppers at number 901-528-CASH, like it always is. What we know about that gunman or that gun, the person who fired that gun and shot that officer, is black male and was last seen in a silver Infiniti, and we've been telling you the plate numbers of that car as well. So once again, we have seen guardians and parents who have children at Jeter School. That lockdown has since lifted since we initially reported that about an hour ago or so, and now we have a lockdown at Doubletree Elementary, like we've been reporting there. Our Brad Broders is on the way there if he's not there yet. So of course, parents have actually been coming to this scene worried, trying to figure out what's going on because they hadn't heard yet from MSCS at last check. Yvonne?
Rebecca, thank you so much. We just have heard from MSCS, and right now we can tell you Westwood High School and Chickasaw Middle School are on a precautionary lockdown as well. Now, we told you about the Doubletree being on lockdown and lockdown at Jeter. Now, right now, this is another look at the Doubletree area. This is Doubletree Street and Deer Trail Lane near Doubletree Elementary School. And again, this is a very big scene there with a lot of active police presence. It looks like Memphis police are there. It looks like that might even be an ambulance that's on the scene as well. But again, Westwood High School, Doubletree Elementary School, Chickasaw Middle School, all on a precautionary lockdown right now. They're about 5 minutes away from each other from what we've been able to look up on Google Maps. But again, this is quite a scene. It looks like in a neighborhood, possibly, where police are continuing their investigation. Let's just say that. They're continuing their investigation. We want to give you facts. And this is definitely an area that we're still trying to look at, and we're going to keep you updated. I believe we have a crew member that's on their way to the scene as well to give us some live updates also. All right. We're going to have live updates later. All right. Thank you so much for staying with us and staying by us. We're going to keep you updated both on air, online, and on social media as we learn more details about what's unfolding right now. Again, a great time to download our app, ABC 24 News app. You can find it for free on Google Play and in your app store. The whole time. It had just started.